Hi, everyone. So, today I want to encourage us to think about the vision within the context of its genres, specifically the genres of comic books and superhero stories. During our Pride and Prejudice unit, we watched many different adaptations of the film, and we discussed the difference between a novel and a film as mediums of storytelling. Each can do a thing that the other can't do, and each provides us with a different experience as reader or viewer. But what I think is most important to remember is the way in which we discussed adaptation as interpretation. While some of the work of adaptation was writing a script and casting actors into different roles, we saw that setting, music, costuming, acting choices, lighting, so many different things all factored into the work of interpretation. I bring this up because I want us to be mindful of how the artwork in a comic book series isn't just illustrating the story being told through dialogue, but is itself a very important part of the storytelling process. If you've ever taken an art appreciation class, perhaps during your K-12 elementary, secondary days, or in college, you probably talked about how elements like color, line, perspective, shading, light, tone, and so many other things all factor into the way a work of art communicates. Many of these things are equally important when reading a comic book series. After you've watched the short lecture video, I'd like you to look at a few things I've attached in the discussion, in the discussion forum box. I'd like you, first of all, to read the attached article titled "The Amazing Stylistic History of Comic Books." This is my favorite explanation of not only how, but why comic book art has changed over the almost 100 years of its development. In this article, the author shows how contemporary and historical events shaped the kinds of stories that were told and the way in which artwork adapted to tell these stories. One of the other unique elements of comic book and superhero stories is that it is expected that different authors will write different versions of a character over the years. In movies, we expect that there be a different Batman or a different Spider-Man every few decades. We allow, say, Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland to be two different versions of Spider-Man, even as we might prefer one version over the other. So, the other thing I'd like you to do after you've read the Stylistic History article is watch some short clips from different versions of Batman to see examples of how the character has changed over the years, from the 1960s Adam West to the 1980s Michael Keaton to the 2000s Christian Bale. I specifically chose clips that feature the Joker so that you can also compare that character's development over the decades. And the last clip I share is the trailer to the Joker film, so you can compare the most recent version of the character to the others. After you've read the article and watched the clips, I'd like you to respond to this post by explaining how you think the content of each film affected, not the content, the context of each film affected how each version of Batman was created. For example, what was happening in the 1960s? What was life like in the 1960s? And how might that have informed the kind of Batman that Adam West portrays? What about 1989? What about that period of history may have made Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson's version of Batman and the Joker popular? In the question of the week for this week, I'd like you to consider the connections between the artwork in the vision, the contemporary context of the 2010s, and the story told in the series. I'm also going to enable the attachment feature just in case you'd like to take a picture just with your phone or whatever of a panel and upload it to your response for a visual aid. That's not required, by making it an option in case you feel so inclined. Looking forward to reading what you write this week in the discussion forums, and looking forward to discussing the rest of the series with you on Friday. As always, check in with me via email or Zoom office hours if you have any questions. I'll see you later. Bye.